Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode about the LEGO Train Automated Container Terminal. The previous episode I was ending with a little cliffhanger that there's one more problem that needs to be solved to actually make this crane work. I knew this problem existed, but I stuck my head in the sand because I was focusing on the grey part first. Now that part is working now, and now there's this little problem that needs to be solved, which turns out not to be that little, unfortunately. It all has to do with the arrival of the train. Now, the previous version of this crane had actually two tracks below it, one monorail and one train track. Now, when a train approached, it triggered a sensor underneath the track. This is the old track of the old version of the crane. It triggered that sensor by a magnet under the first wagon of the train, and by doing so the system knew that the train was more or less in position and needed to be stopped. Now at that point the train was stopped, but it turned out that the train didn't stop exactly on the same spot every time, and that had to do with wear and tear of the motor, the approach speed, and other things I could not control completely. So back to square one, because that was the problem that I have spent, 10 episodes on in the beginning of this project. So the solution for that was that I put a magnet on the side of the wagon, and I put another magnetic sensor on the side of the leg of the crane, and then I'll just move the crane until it reached the magnet and I knew it was in the right position to offload. I'm using the powered up system now, so I can use the rotary encoders inside the motors to actually position the crane, but I still need a initial point, a beginning point, a point of reference, whatever you want to call it, because I need to know where exactly the train has stopped. So I need a system to determine that. Now there are actually two viable options for that. The first viable option is that I'm using a magnet on the side of the wagon that you see here, just on the first wagon is enough, and I have a system next to the track that is, for example, here somewhere. So the train arrives, it is stopped by the system, and then I have a second system here that moves until it reaches the magnet, and then I know where the first wagon is of the train, and based on that I can calculate where the other containers also will be. That is a solution, but I don't like it very much because you see things moving that you won't see in real life. And the cool thing is that when you stop the train and you don't see anything moving, and well, that's better according to me. So I don't like the idea that there's something moving on the side of the train before the whole thing gets unloaded or loaded. So not the best idea. The second option is to move the monorail track to this side of the crane, and by doing so I can move the leg to the left, and I will be able to use a sensor on the crane again to find the magnet. That has a lot of issues involved because the grabber right now, don't mind the stairs, but the grabber behind it is wider than the supports on the left and right side of the leg, and that means that I need to make the whole crane wider to actually fit the grabber between the support system and go all the way to here to move a container. So that has a lot of issues involved that I do not like. So the third option I like the most, but it involves some controversial moves, and it has to do with using the same sensor that is underneath the track. We're going to use it to make the train stop. For example, let's say there's our little hole here. Here's our sensor. The train passes it. The system makes the train stop on this position. It doesn't stop directly above the magnet, like I said. There are 4 to 6 studs of length difference between where the train will stop. So let's say it'll stop here. And now if I can make this sensor that's underneath here movable, I can actually move in the direction the train was going and find the sensor again. And by doing so, I know the offset and I know where to position the crane to load and unload containers. But there's a problem. If I put a sensor beneath this, I'm gonna need to remove these, how do you call them in English? I don't know, how do you call these plates between the rails. I need to cut them away so I can have a free line of sight with the sensor to detect the magnetic field. Otherwise I cannot detect the magnetic field good enough and the system won't work. I cannot use rails like what you see here, as I'm using the 9-volt system, so the train needs to be powered. And yeah, I hear say like maybe you can add just a small piece of not powered rails between the powered rails or something like that. That's not really an option, because then I need to approach the whole thing full speed with the train to overcome this little piece with no power. So that is not a viable solution either. So the solution I came up with is actually to cut away a few of these horizontal plates. If I cut away this here, these two, then I have this open space between the rails that I can use to maneuver the sensor. Now, my question to you is, should I do that or not? Because it's a bit controversial. It means like breaking something. I do not like it very much. So I believe this is the solution to make the whole system work without a lot of things besides the track or changing the whole crane and stuff like that. So my question to you is, can I cut this track or not? Please say yes. It's the most it's the most easy solution for now, and it's not that I'm gluing anything or something. I'm just altering it, and I was wondering if I can get your approval on that or not. Please let me know in the comments, because I'm really stuck with this one, and yeah, looking forward to your reactions. So leave a comment. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.